Welcome to Smarter Circuits, the podcast. I don't know why you say goodbye, I say hello. Today, I'm talking about the Sonoff gift package I was sent, robots, Windows, and a special channel update that you'll have to stick around for because I'm going to talk about some interesting things, I think. But first, before I get into all that, old business. Last week, I had talked about a few things. One of them was the Monday Members mini podcast that I missed. I forgot about it because it's been a very busy week, because it's a very busy time of year, and I'm generally busy anyway. So I really shouldn't have started it or tried to start it then. I'm going to try again in earnest mid-January, maybe February, because I do want to do that. And I want to make a quick note about member content and regular content. I don't really like withholding content from my viewers, all of my viewers. However, I do want to create content that gives members more value for their money because they're supporting the channel financially. Everybody who watches, everybody who likes, everybody who subscribes, they're all supporting the channel, and I appreciate every one of you. And if you don't have it, or you just don't feel like donating, or not donating, but getting a membership or whatever, I have no problem with that. That's fine. If you do have the means and you think that it's neat enough and you want to see it expand and grow, then yeah, I appreciate it. I might even mildly encourage you to do so because it would enable me to do more things. I don't rely on it, though, and so I don't mind putting a bit of my own money into it. Well, so far it's been 100% of that. Well, not 100%, but I'll get to that later. But anyway, I do want to give the members some sort of content, extra content, and it's going to be stuff that I think is going to be a little bit more like this, like the podcast. I think it's going to be a little bit more intimate with the channel itself. And have broader topics than just the topics that probably a good portion of my viewers are here for. Example, I know that there are a lot of subscribers that became subscribers because I had the low voltage system. So they may not necessarily be interested in anything else, or even digging into the channel, or they don't care about the progress of smarter circuits or anything, and that's perfectly fine. But for the people who might, I'm going to do the other thing, and I'm going to try to make sure that I am doing things that are valuable for the members. There's going to be, I'm going to talk about another thing that I'm going to do that may satiate until I start the podcast, or even beyond, depending on how long it takes me to do it. And that's, I'm getting rid of my retro collection. The reason this is relevant to the member video thing is because as I get rid of my retro collection, so I shouldn't say getting rid of, I am going to sell a large portion of the space-consuming items within my collection. Mostly that means my retro PC collection. I will probably be selling all of it, but one item. If you're interested, that's the compact portable, the first one. I have both, but the first one is dear to me because that's what I started writing code on. So the reason I'm doing that is another piece of old business, which is the studio remodel. I will be doing the studio remodel and selling the retro collection sort of in sync. I'll also be cataloging the other things that I plan on keeping and displaying in the studio or in the library, depending on context. But as I'm doing that, as I'm cataloging those things and figuring out the value and whatnot, I will do videos going over those items and maybe explaining them. Maybe I'll talk a little bit about the history and so on. Those will probably be members-only videos. It may be one of those like, okay, it's members only for 3 months or a month or whatever, and then it goes public. I might do that, and maybe some of them will be members and some of them won't. I don't know. I will definitely be taking footage of everything that I do, or everything that I'm cataloging when I do that thing. That starts tomorrow. Not that the videos start tomorrow, but the remodel starts tomorrow. And when I say remodel, not really remodeling. I'm not tearing out any walls. I'm not doing anything like that. the closest thing to changing anything in that regard is I'm changing out the light fixture. Maybe. And the reason that I may be changing out the light fixture is if I can get rid of the pool table that's in the middle of the room, I am going to do that because it would make that room way more versatile. And I hate that damn pool table. And I've hated it since I've owned the house. Everybody else loved it. I hated it. It's not a very good pool table. I play pool. And I play pool fairly well. And don't get me wrong. If you're just knocking the balls around or whatever, just, I don't know, having a beer, I could see that. But it's such a big area necessary to have a pool table because you can't have anything close to it either because you have to have room to queue. And that kind of sucks. It takes up the entire room. So I want to get rid of it. And if I get rid of it, I will be getting rid of the billiards table light that's above it, which is pretty neat. It's like one of those handmade plastic deals with the two bulbs in it. My wife hates it, but I don't mind it. But if I get rid of the pool table, it's not really contextually relevant. Not that that really matters much to me if you look at my collections. But anyway, so the studio remodel starts tomorrow. And that also means that I'll be able to work on some more of the Shelley videos and such as I do that. I'm not sure what it's all going to end up being. The only reason that I'm even against that wood paneled walls because the other walls all have windows or doors in them. But I do have, and I've had this the whole time. I've had this from things I did a decade ago. But I have a giant backdrop frame and a couple backdrops. I have a green screen, a white screen, and a black screen, right? And they're the 10 by 20 deals. And I have all the lights that to do like photography and such, because that's what you buy when you do things like this. But I've never wanted to do a backdrop because everybody does, or they either do a backdrop or they do this thing, and I hate this so much, where they point the camera exactly at a 45-degree line with a corner, and then they sit dead center, and they often have lights and stuff, which I've done lights behind me, don't get me wrong, and you need to light your set, but I don't like that look. I don't like that corner look. It's so weird to me. Now, I do sit dead center. So it's not like I'm being all that compositionally creative or anything when I do my narrations, but there are certain things that I feel like are sort of like Walmart family photo cheap, and that's backdrops. To me, that's what they remind me of. It's like, this is not, and I don't worry about things being pro necessarily, don't get me wrong, but I do want them to feel genuine or at least be honest, and that's why I never bothered cleaning up the background of the set, quote unquote. But anyway, I am going to be doing something. I don't know, and I do use the green screen from time to time, but I don't think I'm ever going to do anything against a backdrop. We'll see. Okay, now that I've babbled about that for a long time, on to new business. First, and probably most brief, I am going to robot. My grandkids are coming of an age where they're starting to recognize certain things. Example, I started my eldest grandson on the Brick Experiment channels, like Brick Experiment, Brick Technology, Brick Machines. I think there's another one. I can't remember. There's quite a few of them. But a lot of them are like showing basic mechanical principles, either just by showing them or by creating challenges and then having to beat those challenges using those mechanical principles. And they're all using Lego techniques to do that. And it's really, really cool. And the kids are starting to get an intuitive sense of how those things work, right? They're starting to understand the way things move and so on. So I want them to see something like that in person, but I'm not buying Lego Technics because they're expensive. I would love to have them, don't get me wrong, and maybe one day I will, but not for this purpose. I ended up buying a robot chassis. Now, It's one of those cheapy little ones, so I'm only going to take the wheels from it. The wheels are Mecanum wheels, and that's why I wanted it. I might use the motors. I don't know. I need to test them. They look kind of small, so we'll see. Um, but yeah, I am going to build a robot, and I'll probably do some videos on that as I do it. The next thing that I'm going to do videos on that is going to be really neat, and the reason that I'm bringing this up in new business is because these aren't just like upcoming topics for the channel update. They have some weird uniqueness to it, like the robot thing. The next one is I've wanted to do this for 2 years, and that's the window opening video. I want to make a window opener out of a linear actuator. I know this has been done, and I know that there are probably even consumer products that do this already. I don't care. I'm going to use the ones that I use because I can, and I already have one. Um, but these linear actuators are pretty tough. And one of the things that I love about that is you can set your window to a specific position and that nobody can open it. You will not push that window against that linear actuator unless you broke the linkage. That's probably the weakest failure point, and it ain't all that weak, let me tell you. So these things are way stronger than window locks. Now, you could break the frame of the window or break the window, but I feel like if somebody is motivated enough to do that, they're going to do that whether the linear actuator is there or not. And if your window's locked and it's even slightly difficult for them to open, if they're already inclined to break it, they're going to break it. But one of the reasons why this is really important to this house specifically is I have a whole house fan. If you don't know, when you have a whole house fan, it sucks the air out of your house, which means air has to come in to replace that air that was taken out. If you don't open windows and open them adequately enough for enough airflow to come in to replace the air that the whole house fan is taking out, it will start drawing air from the next largest holes, which are your drains. So you will get sewer gas or sewer air. I don't know if it's not necessarily sewer gas, but you will get nasty, very disgusting air in your house. So I do not recommend doing that. I would like to be able to automate my whole house fan. I can already turn it on through my thing. There's a Shelly relay that's controlling it, but I would like to be able to actually set up a thing that says if conditions are such, open the windows, vent the house. And also have a rule that basically says if I turn on the whole house fan or if I ask for the whole house fan to be turned on before it actually gets turned on, I want the home assistant to open the windows. If the whole house fan is on, the windows should be open. I might even, as a double safety, write the logic into the Shelly relay to send the same command. I'll probably use RPC on the device that I make for that particular purpose. But yeah, so that's coming. I just babbled about that for a long time and I didn't really need to. I am going to make an automated window opener. Now, and another thing, it's probably not going to be the most aesthetically pleasing thing to most people. Mine, I might make a case for it so that it's just sort of a large box on the sill, and I might try to make it a color or pattern or something that makes it cohesive. But at the same time, I actually don't mind just having a bare linear actuator there because they look cool. Okay, I don't mind the industrial look at all. My wife might disagree with that. So there will be some that are hidden, but either way, you're not going to get around like having something visible when you have something like that. And I'm sure that, like I said, I'm sure that there are consumer devices that do this, but I'm not interested because chances are they're the bare minimum required to do the thing. And the linear actuators that I'm going to use will move much heavier things than those windows. Much heavier. Anyway, okay, so the next thing. Wow, did I just talk about... Oh, okay, I'm sorry. we're on to the main topic now. Sonoff sent me a gift box. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up, I mean, I would tell you guys anyway, because it's relevant to the channel. Sonoff sends me products. Uh, this particular gift box was interesting. I've been a software engineer for a long time, and I have worked in many a office, and I have worked for many a massive corporation, and I have seen many a corporate gift, either for a convention or for a holiday, whatever, and they're usually the same sort of, half-ass crap, and it's, sort of hollow. This, if it is a hollow gesture, they're at least really good at faking it. I will say that, because this was a neat package. Inside this package, I found the following items. There was a pen that, of course, you always get the pen, right? I have pens from every company I've ever worked for, of varying quality, but every company has pens. And this is a high quality pen. It's also a very thick pen, which I like because I have kind of biggish hands, and so sometimes, especially now, as carpal tunnel and arthritis start to really, really kick in, when I'm manually writing, having a small writing utensil actually makes my hand cramp much faster. So I actually like this. I have not written with it, so I don't know if the pen part is any good, and I am absolutely pedantic about pens. If you're interested in why I'm pedantic about pens, I will tell you in another video. But these, yeah, it came with a really good pen. And on the pen, I do want to say this. I'm not showing this on the video because I don't want to be unfair to the audio listeners, if that makes any sense. And I do want to come up with a way of sharing things like this outside of my videos. And before anybody says Instagram, I don't really dig social media platforms of any kind. However, I will admit it's on the table because it might be better to have a sparse Instagram than a completely ignored blog, which is the next step that I would probably take. There's another option. I do host my own services, and one of those is a photo server. I host an image server. So it is possible that I could just share these directly, have a page for them or something. I don't know. I might do the Instagram thing, I don't know. But somehow I am going to share pictures of these things at some point. They're really neat. But it has like a little brass sleeve on it that has some Chinese writing on it and a couple different symbols. And it's really, really good looking. I like it. It's the kind of pen that you would put in a little case or stand on your desk. The next thing was, I don't know. There's a thing in there that initially my wife and I thought bookmark, but it's awfully thick to be a bookmark. I mean, I guess it could still be, but it looks like a shepherd's hook. It's shaped that way anyway. And at the tip of the hook, there's a small length of chain that leads to this little bauble that's like, it's got a metal frame and it spins inside of it. And it's really ornate and it's really cool looking, but I'm not sure what its purpose is. Now, the reason that it's in there is because, and Sonoff explained this in the letter, they wanted to spread holiday cheer as well as giving people a taste of Chinese culture, which I'm going to talk about that in a moment. Let me get through the list first. I'll come back to this. So the next thing that was in there, and I'm going in this order because I'm actually building up to something. I'm going from the least interesting to the most interesting. The next thing was a little desk calendar, and this is where it actually starts to get pretty neat. This desk calendar is a little wooden box on little legs, and so it's kind of like a cubby that the items inside slide into the front. And what it has is blocks in there. There's 3 blocks so that you can do the day of the week or weekend, which I thought was a very clever way of doing that on a 6-sided figure, by the way. And then it has the 2 for creating the date. And there's a special way that that's done too. I'll show it at some point. Maybe I'll do a short on it. And then underneath it has some elongated blocks. It's got 3 of them, and it has all the months on them so that you can set this little neat desk calendar. And then it also has the Chinese symbol for each of those things, which I think is also cool. It's really neat looking, and my wife really liked it, so she asked if she could put it on her desk. And since it doesn't have any wires, it doesn't belong on mine, so she's going to put it on her desk. You may see it in the background at some point if you're watching the podcast video. Um, the next thing, which is another thing that affected my wife, was a paper lantern book. So it's a paper lantern that looks like a book until you open it and it lights up. And it has a USB-C charging port and a pretty bright LED inside. The light is adequate and very soft, so it's actually really good as a reading light, which is its intention, I'm sure. My wife loved that thing. She absolutely loves it. And it is really neat. And since we're trying to make a library, it fit right in. That was cool. That's where it's going. And it's going to go on a shelf with special things that are not necessary. They're either special books or not books, but look like books. Okay, and then the next thing, I do want to briefly, before I talk about the next item, briefly, I want to say that the packaging for all of this stuff was also very ornate and sort of high quality. All of this stuff was high quality. But the next thing, and this blew my mind, to be perfectly honest, is a sling bag. And it has the Sonoff logo on it. But this sling bag is not like your typical corporate gift sort of, usually if you get a shirt, it's either crap or has the company logo on it, or both. If you get a backpack, it's usually one of those really super thin backpacks that you feel like you could just kind of pull apart, or other device like that. I don't think companies give away fanny packs anymore, but even those, when they did, were very, very flimsy. This is not flimsy. The strap is very, very strong. All of the seams are very, very strong. It is a thick, it's all thick material, and on the inside it has a lot of padding for certain pockets. It's an awesome sling bag. And I want to take a moment to explain that I consider myself somewhat of a sling bag aficionado, in that I am an amateur photographer. I don't know as much as most photographers about like all the different models of cameras and everything, so don't expect that. But I am an amateur photographer, and ever since I started, I have carried my camera pretty much everywhere I went until the smartphones caught up. And I still actually prefer my camera for other reasons, and if you're a photographer, you know what the limitations are. But anyway, the point is, I used to carry my camera everywhere, and I like taking all kinds of different shots. A lot of shots that I like to take are instant, like in the moment kind of shots. So I like having my camera easy to get, but still safe. And the sling bag, sling bag is the way to do that. As a matter of fact, in the early days, I was fortunate enough, well, it wasn't after my first year, it was in my second year of photography, I was fortunate enough to be given one of the Canon sling bags. And that thing is awesome. I had it for a long time. I don't know what happened to it. I don't have it now, but I had it for a really long time, and it was really cool because you could just pull it around to your front, open up one pocket, and pull out the camera. And it had, if I remember correctly, there's like a Velcro or some sort of very fast way of even getting in the pocket to get the camera. So having a good sling bag that you can sort of pull over your shoulder and get into very quickly is awesome. Now, this one you couldn't get into as quickly, and it's not specifically for cameras for sure. I wouldn't put my camera in it because it's not padded enough for that. But otherwise, everything else about it is awesome. I really like that sling bag. So, if anybody from Sonoff is listening, oh, and wait, one more thing. The letter. They sent a letter. I'm not going to read it to you, but I will say that if it's a template letter, it's at least well done, and it was signed by the representative that I talked to, that was kind of cool. I liked that little personal touch. Oh, no, I forgot about another item. Doggone it, I didn't put it in my notes. The other thing that they sent me, and it was funny when I noticed it. So a couple of the things were slipped into the bag, the sling bag. One of those things was a bag of gloves, and when I first pulled the bag out, I was like, they looked like they might be the cheap, flimsy with just the rubber coating on one side, but not even like the good ones, just like the cheapy ones that are almost disposable. But they're not. When I got them out and smushed them, I realized that they are quite thick rubber electrician's gloves. That is also cool. And I feel like even though it's contextually relevant, because Sonoff makes devices that have to do with the electrical system and so on, it also has a certain personal appeal. So again, even if it was like sort of an automated or mechanical, emotionless sort of, here we do this because this is what we do, it was still well done, well executed. And I actually do suspect that there was some thought that was put into this, considerable thought, honestly. Because the items are very cool. I love all of the little artifacts that came in that. So if anybody from Sonoff is listening, which I doubt, because if they do watch anything, it's probably the product reviews. Thank you. That was cool. Now, earlier I mentioned that I wanted to talk about something. The Chinese culture that this represents is interesting to me. I want to make it clear that while I have talked about state-funded hacking from both Russia and China, and we're going through all of this stuff with TP-Link right now, and there are a lot of bad actors out there, those bad actors represent bad actors. They are no different than when we have the same kind of thing going on. Sometimes the asshole ruins it for everybody else. I do not blame the people of China or their culture or their country, or even all of the people in their government, although probably quite a few. I don't have anything against China. I don't like the things that are happening because of certain aspects of the Chinese government. So, just wanted to be clear on that, so that if there were anybody, if anybody who's watching who's from China, or has friends from China, or so on and so forth, I did not want to give the wrong impression in any of my videos about security or anything that it's about China. It's not about China. It's about the people who do stupid things and do it in the name of China, oftentimes. Anyway, so that was the main thing that I had. I am now going to do the channel update, and I said that I'm going to do a channel update every week so that you guys can have a little bit of insight. Although most of my conversations thus far have been about something about the channel until I get rolling with like guests and such. So please be patient about that, and thank you. But this is the official section for the channel update. I am still working on the protocols and integrated circuit script. I have not finished those. I was hoping to have a video this week. That might still happen. It may not be the protocols video. I'd really like it to be, but man, there's a lot of work to be done on that one, and I really want to make sure that I'm thorough, and I want to make sure I'm giving accurate information, because this is going to be an important one. This is one where I'm speaking on even my own. This is my expertise. So I have a degree in computer science that's not related to programming. I just sort of ended up being a software engineer by proxy, and then it just became a permanent thing that I did regular. And the rest was, 15 years of the same. But before that, I was an IT guy. I was an IT admin. What was I on? Oh, so the Shelley videos, that's the other thing that I mentioned that I was working on, or going to work on. I have not started on them, but they are going to start when I start the remodel, because I'll be able to do new things in the studio. So hopefully I'll have a video out before the end of the year. If not, expect one mid-January. And I do apologize. I really am grateful for everybody's patience when I have like lulls in videos. More often than not, if there's a lot of time between videos, the reason is honestly because the video that I'm planning to do takes a lot of work. and I can't dedicate full time to it. So, I'm doing all of this in evenings and weekends. It takes me a little bit longer to get some of these done. So, again, thank you for your patience, subscribers, viewers, listeners. Um, yeah. The next thing that I wanted to talk about, and this is, I would like to know if people actually want to know anything about this, or if it comes off as sort of, I don't know, awkward or unnecessary. And that's, I was going to give some stats. I'm not going to talk about exact numbers as far as money, like, how much revenue the channel makes or how much how much I spend. I say we, I don't know why I say we. I am the only guy, but I think I just sort of include my wife for some reason, or just say we because you do that. I don't know. Anyway, the channel will say, um, I'm not going to give any like exact numbers. I will give you. I'll give you something like this. Like, so I can tell you that the channel, in the 3 years that it has existed, so I started the channel in August of 2021. In the 3 years that it has existed, it has made 3 digits. It has made an amount of money that is 3 digits. It has cost an amount of money that is 5 digits. The low 5 digits, but it is. I do have some cash into this thing, and a lot of that. Don't get me wrong. A lot of that is equipment, so it still holds its value in that way. Um. Oh, so the other thing that I want to say about the stats. I will probably give monthly stats if this is something that people are interested in moving forward. But for this example, we're just going to call this sort of an example of this section. And if people dig it, I'll continue to let people in on these numbers. The numbers that I'm going to give you today are going to be the lifetime numbers of the channel, and it's not anything like not going to get into SEO or anything like that. It's like views and so on and so forth. Which, in the lifetime of the channel thus far, it has had 242,900 or 593, views. So roughly 242,000 views. There are 2,874 subscribers. You can just see that. And so this is, I keep fumbling with this because I don't want to approach any of these things incorrectly. And there's some of them are very circular, and I'm not sure where to jump on, if that makes sense. But the channel right now is 61 watch hours away from being monetized. For anybody who does not know this, YouTube, if you want to get ad revenue, you must have 1,000 subscribers, and then you must fulfill one of two other requirements, and those requirements are either 10 million shorts views, which I will never even strive for because I'm not that into shorts. I will do shorts, but they're not going to be a focus for sure. And then you have to have 4,000 watch hours over the last rolling year. So, in order to increase in watch hours, you have to have a delta between today and today a year ago. The delta must be in the positive. Otherwise, you lose hours or stay the same. With that in mind, the channel is 61 watch hours from being monetized. Now, there's not a whole lot of money involved in that, especially not initially, and I wouldn't expect there to be. This is a very, very small YouTube channel. I would love to grow this YouTube channel. I really do like doing this thing. Not the editing as much, but the rest of it is pretty neat. So, there's another thing about that. I don't know that it will make any ads increase or anything, but one thing I do want to say, I will never force material for the purpose of ad revenue. What I mean by that is, in order for a video to show an ad and for you to get paid for that ad, I believe it's still this way, it must be over 8 minutes long, or 8 minutes or longer. And I do have videos that are under 8 minutes. If a video is under 8 minutes, that's fine. I will not fluff up a video to get it over 8 minutes. Especially because I feel like an 8-minute video shouldn't have an ad. That's crazy. Now, don't get me wrong, the commercial density of like early television was still pretty high. But I feel like we got more in between. The other thing that sucks, I'm going to tangent for just a moment about ads. I hate ad placement. And I am absolutely certain that they intentionally do bad ad placement because it shocks you. And the reason that I'm certain about that is because I happen to know that in the flippin' 90s, the equipment in a TV station, in a no-name TV station no less, was capable of injecting a commercial into a section of the video on the tape that was a specific length or longer of black frame. So they could use that same technique and at least do it between sentences. You're doing the closed captioning, so you must know where I'm at speech-wise. Put the ads somewhere that makes sense. And let us do the thing. So the other thing is, if there is something from television or anything, or something that is actually built for commercials that's put on, the damn thing will still put the commercials in the wrong places. And again, I really do think that's intentional, and I really do think that sucks. That should be changed. The other thing that really sucks is I get repetition, but man, 2 of the same ads in a row? Stop that crap. You write better software. Anyway, that's my rant about ads. I am not hugely into the whole like super branding thing. I don't mind a bit of it. Like, I like my relationship with Shelley, and the developing relationship with Sonoff isn't bad. And I actually have to respect them for not minding that I don't like everything they do. I don't like everything they do, and I've spoken about that, and they don't seem to mind that. So cool. I think they've even taken some of it on board, and I think that's really awesome, especially given the fact that I'm not a particularly big channel. Okay, next thing. So the channel has had, well, no, the channel has 109 videos. This will be the 110th. I've actually made more like 135-ish, but I have taken some videos down. Some videos just didn't make the cut. Some videos I completely redid. So there it is. And then again, I'm not going to talk about the exact revenue, but 3 digits in, 5 digits out so far. And most of my viewers are between 35 and 44, with the majority being from the U.S. All expected. And 6.2% have turned on notifications. The only reason I wanted to mention that is because this is another thing. This is another example of the numbers that other people care about, and I don't. And maybe that will hurt my channel or prevent me from growing quickly or prevent me from growing to a certain size. If that's the case, that's fine, because I would rather earn it than, than focus on, like, it's kind of like the demographic piece, right? Don't put the dog on the corner because 19% of your audience will smile at it. Tell a story. Do the thing that you're doing without distracting people with product placement or, some pandering thing that you're only putting in because of some research or article. I hate that crap. So I will never, ever, ever worry about numbers like this. The 6.2% that have turned on notifications is below the typical range of 10 to 30%. I don't care. It's just like my watch time on the videos. I will also say this. You get a graph, if you don't know this, you get a graph that shows what percentage of viewers are still watching at a certain time in your video. And a lot of the YouTube algorithm consideration has to do with the first 30 seconds of the video, how long, if they stay end to end, and if they click on an end element, like one of the cards that pops up. I don't care. I'm making the videos that I'm making. They're honest. They're me, mistakes and all. And it's okay if people don't like them, you know. But I will say that a lot of them are flat, at least. So the people that do watch mostly watch to the end. The people that don't watch leave fairly quickly. And that's actually to be expected. There's a little bit of that in every channel. There's always just a bit of a dip in that first 30 seconds. But I would say on average, I probably retain about 30%, which is pretty low. It really is. If you look at big channels graphs, they're up like closer to the 80% range, somewhere in there. Those are not exact numbers. It's arbitrary based on things that I remember. But yeah, so I if you're interested in the stats of the channel, just to see where the channel is at growth-wise, I have no problem sharing those stats. If you're not interested, that's fine too. But again, the one thing that I do want to make sure everybody knows is I'm not like chasing these numbers. These numbers are interesting to me. I am sort of chasing subscriber count, and I'm pushing a little bit for membership so I can do neat things, but I'm never going to like really lay it on. And I hate, like many people, I think even the people that did it in the early days just instinctively hate the like and subscribe. I hate the like and subscribe. I understand its purpose, and for some reason, statistically, it does work. But I don't know if I care about that. I think that the people that are on board with my channel are either completely ignoring the videos and just leaving me in their subscribe list, or they're in it for the long haul and sort of forgive me for some of my flaws, which, everybody has. So thanks for that. Yeah, that's it. That's it about the stats. Let me know if you like them. And now, the last part of the episode, my final thoughts. First, I just want to make sure I remind everybody you can contact me through the normal, in the comments sort of thing, or you can join the Discord. You can message me on Discord. I don't mind that. Don't be crazy. Don't go over the top. I'll block you or whatever. And you can also email me at smartercircuits@gmail.com. I encourage people to reach out and let me know. You can tell me stories. You can tell me what you think of something I've done. You can suggest topics. All of these things are very, very valuable to me, especially right now, being the size that I am, because I'm sort of in a transitionary stage to being, like, I should take it seriously, which I kind of think I did from the beginning anyway, because I have to respect my viewers. But, I'm at this point where, like, even other entities are starting to view me as being like, oh, maybe this is a thing that's going to stick around. And I do intend on sticking around, regardless of how many commas are in my subscriber count, or digits even. But, I would like to see the channel grow. And feedback is absolutely paramount to doing that. The next Friday is the 27th. I think I'm going to do a video on Friday or Saturday, the 27th or the 28th, or podcast. I may not. So if I do not do next Friday's podcast, I will resume January 3rd. So, I guess, happy holidays? Happy non-denominational gift-giving season? Merry Christmas, whatever you're into. I am not a particularly sensitive person when it comes to those things, and I also try to be respectful and mindful of as many people and groups as I possibly can. So, I sincerely hope that everybody has a good end of the year, beginning of the year, whatever it is that you're celebrating. Eat a lot of whatever it is you eat. Spend time with the people that you love. Again, thank you, members, subscribers, viewers, listeners, attentive telepaths. We all have a limited number of minutes. We don't even know what that supply is, and you've spent some of yours with me. I say this in every video because I sincerely appreciate it. I will always appreciate it because you can't have a channel without viewers. So the whole reason this exists is for you. And I'm humbled by the amount of people that have been watching as it is. So until next week or possibly the following, thank you for joining me. I do hope you join me again as I continue babbling about smarter circuits.